In the flickering torchlight of a deserted atrium, imagine the echo of distant footsteps as you wander through the pillars where senators once whispered of power and conquest. Sleep in ancient Rome was not the gentle reprieve we know today, but a clandestine ritual wrapped in superstition and grim resolve. In those dim corridors, citizens believed that the moments between waking and dreams were not void, but thresholds inhabited by restless spirits. To close one's eyes was to invite the shades of the underworld into your very blood, to risk becoming a vessel for their eternal lament. And yet, each night, Roman aristocrats and slaves alike lay upon narrow pallets beneath sweet-smelling oils, waiting for that first shiver of oblivion. In that suspended instant, the air grew heavy with incense and unspoken dread, as if the walls themselves exhaled the memory of death. Gaius Valerius, a scholar famed for deciphering cryptic omens, recorded that sleep walked a tightrope between divine favor and malediction. Those who slumbered too deeply might never emerge entombed in a velvet void, while the over-anxious awoke dozens of times, convinced their own heartbeats had summoned shadowy wraiths to side with Nemesis. Rituals began as dusk fell. Gentle libations to Somnus, a slender deity cloaked in midnight blue, offerings of lavender and poppy oil drawn from the shores of Sicily. In the flicker of bronze lamps, Romans sprinkled water laced with crushed rose petals at the head of their beds, praying to avert nightmares that would forever scar their souls. Some whispered that the city's very foundation, laid upon the bones of Etruscan dead, cursed every nightfall, forcing inhabitants to wrestle with the littered ghosts of centuries. But beyond mortal fear, sleep also carried an irresistible fascination. Wealthy patricians commissioned exotic slaves from the furthest reaches of the empire, men and women versed in secrets of the East, to whisper lullabies in foreign tongues, promising visions of glory or ruin. They perched beside opulent couches of ivory and silk, chanting incantations as wind chimes made of fractured glass trembled in the night breeze. These servants were both guardians and jailers, for only they held the key to rouse their masters from prophetic slumbers. To betray that trust invited the curse of insomnia, plague more terrible than any fever gifted by vengeful dreams. In shadowed villas just beyond the Tiber's roar, philosophers debated whether dreams were fragments of a hidden truth or illusions cast by mischievous daemons. Marcus Flavius, known as the Restless Sage, compiled volumes of dream visions, battles waged on cloud-strewn fields, temples rising from black waters, serpents encircling the necks of emperors. He believed that sleep was memory's cruel savior, dragging the living into liminal realms where the past and future bled together in swirling frescoes. By candlelight, he meticulously sketched the visages of doomed consuls and fallen gladiators, convinced these portraits held the power to avert or summon calamity. Yet for the common folk, the struggle was simpler: exhaustion. Laborers returned from quarries and workshops, bodies broken by stones and hammers, longing only for a few stolen hours on straw mats laid across cool marble. They dared not dream of divine messages, for their nights were punctuated by the moans of the infirm. Trapped in a city whose hospitals' valetudinaria offered no respite from the anguished cries that seeped through thin walls. Rats scurried in the shadows, gnawing at discarded scraps, their beady eyes reflecting the last embers of oil lamps. Even a gentle dusk breeze whispered warnings of plague, carrying in its currents the unseen armies of disease that would feast on the sleeping. As midnight approached, a hush fell over the forum, broken only by the tolling of distant bells announcing funerals. In that silence, some Romans sought solace in the cult of Hypnos, an obscure brotherhood dedicated to mastering slumber. They slept huddled in catacombs beneath the city, tunnels wound with tangled ivy, believing that death's cold embrace granted the purest rest. Initiates painted masks of alabaster and obsidian to block the light, hoping to dissolve their identities into something eternal. But with each descent into that subterranean darkness, a handful vanished without trace, as if swallowed by the very earth they worshipped. When dawn threatened the horizon, rare survivors emerged, pale as marble, lips quivering with unsaid truths. They spoke of colossal ruins aflame in impossible colors, of skeletons draped in imperial robes, and of voices that thundered promises of glorious conquest stitched with certain doom. Scholars recorded these accounts in hushed ciphers, for the Senate feared any prophecy that foretold the empire's end. They locked such treatises in iron chests, throwing away the keys as if ignorance could postpone the wheels of fate grinding beneath Rome's grand arches. Modern historians dismiss these tales as fanciful superstition, yet fragments endure in fragments of papyrus scattered in dusty tombs along the Nile. One scroll describes a night when thunder shook the capital, and thousands of citizens abandoned their beds, fleeing into fog-laden streets where they witnessed spectral legions marching beneath a blood-red moon. Another recounts how a Vestal virgin dreamt of the city's collapse, her vision etched so vividly she awoke with tears that carved channels through her chalk-white powder. To this day, those accounts linger like an unhealed wound across time. Perhaps the greatest irony is that Romans prized wakefulness above all. Senators proudly declared their insomnia a badge of honor, claiming that true rulers never slumbered. Emperors commissioned statues of themselves with open eyes carved in eternal vigilance, as if to assert dominion over both the living and the realm of dreams. Yet, for each monument to wakefulness, countless ordinary souls paid with fractured rest and haunted nights. In the silent rooms of long-abandoned domus, the wind still carries faint echoes of lullabies, a reminder that sleep, in Rome's golden age, was neither sanctuary nor surrender, but a fragile pact with forces unseen. And so, as you lie beneath your modern canopy, breathe deep the cool night air and ponder the trust you place in your own sleep. The memory of Rome's torchlit corridors, its whispered invocations to gods and spirits, survives not merely in dusty tomes, but in the shadows of your dreams. For sleep remains a doorway that the ancients viewed with both reverence and terror. In each gentle exhalation, you trace the footsteps of those who dared to cross that threshold centuries ago, their fate woven into your own midnight visions. Tonight, as you drift away, remember that the boundaries between truth and nightmare are as thin as the flicker of a dying flame. Good night, and may your dreams be your own.